Wolfpack Nation, welcome back for part 2 of our discussion of the 2013 NC State football team. If you've seen part 1, you know exactly what's going on right now. But if you haven't seen part 1 yet, make sure to go check that out first and foremost, and then come right back here so that way we could pick up right where we left off. Enjoy it and go Pack, y'all.
I'm looking at my, I found the media guide. The logo is This Is Our State, and it had the North Carolina and it had the Wolf Eyes on there. That didn't.
Pete Thomas is now the QB coach at Louisville.
He's making.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of random where people are now. Obviously, we know the players. I'm just thinking of other little random tidbits.
I was just to kind of bring this whole back into, you're looking at the schedule, and we only got that. We got no conference wins. We lost to ECU that year, so they were mocking us pretty good. And the thing is looking at the schedule, the games weren't that close. We got embarrassed a lot. You beat Central Michigan, but I think at the time Central Michigan, they might have been D1 at that point.
Was that year with Florida State? Was that a Jameis Winston year?
2013.
They won the national title.
That was the year they won the national title. Yeah,
and they destroyed us. And so the game I remember the most, was this the year Brian Wood almost stepped out? I think it is.
Against Clemson.
It was at home.
I believe so. Yeah, we only lost them
but
by
I'll
12.
tell you the game that I remember the most. I think I remember most out of the season was the Duke game. For whatever reason, I remember we never played Duke, and it was like a back and forth game, and we just choked that game away.
Yeah, 30-28.
Well, I'm gonna go back to that Clemson game because I forgot that was the year. Yeah, that was the Bryant Underwood. I was at that game, and from the upper deck, I knew he stayed in bounds. But if you think if he stays in bounds or they call him in bounds, and we beat Clemson that year, do they have the dynasty they have now?
Nope. Well, I think it'd have been delayed. If anything,
yeah, because that was more the year that Bambard missed the field goal. That was really the upper trajectory of the dynasty. And you looking at all these scores, that was our closest loss in conference play.
I think UNC was. I think we lost to them by
8. Yeah, you're right.
Who's the tight end who played for UNC that year?
Yeah. You end the season on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 game losing streak.
Yeah, and you started out 2-0 against bad teams, obviously, but then the third game, you get Clemson at home, you play them close. If it's not for that call, you may win that game. Then you win your last non-conference game against Central Michigan, and you're 3-1 going into the ACC schedule with a close loss to Clemson already. Yep. And it was looking like, okay, maybe we can look at what do we have in this new coach? And obviously didn't last long.
Yeah. So kind of just talking about that, from a fan perspective, as we always do here on the channel, you're not feeling pretty good. You're like, we got rid of Dave. I'm not Dave. We got rid of Tom O'Brien for Dave. What? And I get it. We had pretty much plateaued with Tom O'Brien, and things were getting a little sour because of the whole Russell Wilson and Mike Glennon situation. But you bring in Dave Doran, and because you remember, this is the other thing people may not remember. Dave Doran was coming off that Orange Bowl performance with Northern Illinois, so he kind of had he was the hot name, the guy that everybody kind of wanted, and you start off the 2-0, and then you end up 3-9 overall, and you go 3-5 at home, but 0-4 away, and conference is 0-8. And really, because of the 8-game losing streak, nothing was going. You didn't really see any glimmer of hope at that point.
Yeah, not on an 8-game losing streak.
So, what? Go ahead.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. Like I said, you started out pretty well, but then
I'm trying to remember who were on some of these other teams that we played. Was that so? Who's the tight end at UNC that plays for the Steelers?
Well, that was Ebron, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think Ebron was on that. Was he on that team that year? I think he was. for UNC. I'm trying to look at like Florida State was Jameis Winston and all that. You had like, do you even remember who the coaches were? Like, who was the coach for Syracuse? Like, I mean, like look at some of these coaches. I'm like,
yeah,
was it Dino Babers? Was I think he was a first year coach there. I mean,
No, he couldn't have been.
No, he
Couldn't
was
have
a
been.
little bit after.
Yeah, I see the guy. He wore glasses. He was kind of like an offensive-minded dude. I just can't.
So Gina Babers, that's not right. So Scott Schaefer was the coach.
Yep, nope, not the guy I was thinking about.
I don't even remember that name.
And from 2013 to 2015 at Syracuse, and then it was Dino Babers in 2016.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at this right now, like you're looking at the coaches, kind of you're talking about the only other coach than the ACC that was with that team is Dabo. I mean, everyone else is recycled their coach. Some multiple times. So Carolina, was that Butch in 2013?
I think so. No, that was Fedora.
Was it Fedora?
Yeah, I think it was Fedora. UNC football coach.
I know it was right about that time is when they made the switch. I couldn't remember.
It was Laura Fedora.
Or Fedora.
Laura Fedora.
And then I believe Duke would have been still Cutcliffe at that point.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think
I don't know.
Boston College was the guy that came from Ohio State, I think. Can't think of him. Like not their current Ohio State guy, but they had a different Ohio State guy.
Steve Adazio, or is he?
Oh, was that Adazio then?
I think it was Adazio.
Yeah, you're right. It might have been him.
Mm-hmm.
Then obviously
Ruffin McNeil was ECU.
I was gonna say right now, Ruffin, and then Friedgen still with Maryland at that point, or was that oh boy that went to Connecticut?
So here it was Michael. No, that's who it is now. I'll say it's Mike Loxley. No, that's who it is now. It was. I'm looking it up.
I think it was the guy that went to Connecticut.
Randy Edsel.
Yeah, Randy Edsel.
Edsel. Yeah. Oh yeah, he did go to UConn.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
so like the only coaches are at Clemson and State. The only ones who kept their coaches, right?
Yeah. Who was at Wake at that point?
That still would have been.
Was that the guy that ended up going to Baylor?
No, that was still Jim Grobe.
Grobe, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Grobe went to Baylor.
Oh, he went to Baylor?
He took over when Bryles got fired.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
This was 2013. So this would have been my senior year of high school. So I don't remember a lot outside of just NC State. Like now that I'm like doing this and covering more, I remember more outside the ACC. But back then I was still playing football. That was my senior year of high school football. So like I was really focused on just State that year. But yeah, it's crazy that State and Clemson and I guess Florida State had the national championship, but that was with Jimbo. But you could argue State and Clemson have been two of the top 3 or 4 best, most successful ACC teams in that time frame, and they're the only ones who have kept their coach.
Yeah. Just looking at some of the defense here, it was a unit that. Again, the other thing too is we started a lot of young kids the first year. Just looking at some of the stats, and we definitely struggle. Like when you finish 3-9, you're going to struggle on all sides of the ball.
Yeah,
I think our best unit was special teams with Sadie. He was still kicking.
Oh
for
yeah,
us.
he was up there on the all-time.
I think he was the
NC
State's Player of the Year award. It's like if your
for
kicker
sure.
wins that, it's like
oh no,
that's not saying a whole
It
lot.
might have been the long snapper too. I don't know. He might have finished second in the balloting. It was just
all ACC.
Man, looking at the stats
What do you
on
got?
defense, since you mentioned it.
Yeah.
Our leading tackler that year with 106 tackles, Robert Caldwell. I do not remember that name at all.
I remember the name, but I don't remember. I'm kind of surprised that was the player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dante Johnson was number 2 with 81, who obviously remember him.
Yep.
But yeah.
Before we continue, I want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Flatlands Jessup Insurance Group, that has your whole world covered, with agents in 5 offices throughout eastern North Carolina to help you decide how much coverage you need. Offering policies for home and auto, recreational vehicles, commercial, crop, health, life, and employee benefits. They are able to combine options to find a comprehensive solution that works for you. Flatlands Jessup protects the things you love so you can spend less time worrying and more time enjoying them. Find them on Facebook and Instagram at Flatlands Jessup. You can also visit their webpage at www.flatlandsjessup.com. So please make sure to go and check them out.
Yeah, it's yeah, I mean, I don't even know like anybody got offensive stats like who our leading rusher was. I know Thornton.
I got those.
Thornton was on the team, but I thought he got kicked off. I think that was the year he ended up getting kicked off.
So offensively, you had Brandon Mitchell, for the transfer from Arkansas, who started the season in the QB, played in the first 6 games, and got injured. He threw for 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Pete Thomas finished the season, transferred from, I think, Colorado State.
Yeah.
He played in the last 9 games, 1,600 yards, 4 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Oh, boy.
Jeez. I'm looking back at the clip now of us playing Louisiana Tech. And yeah, Brandon Mitchell did get hurt. I can't remember what part of the game he did, but it was like, I think, second quarter, something like that.
And then your rushing leader, Shadrack Thornton, played in 11 games, 768 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Okay, so he played in 11.
Brandon Mitchell was actually the second leading rusher in playing in only 6 games. And Matt Days played that year. I think that was his freshman year, right? You mentioned him at the beginning. He had 252 yards and 4 touchdowns. So, I mean, he definitely came in and made an impact right as a freshman.
Yeah. Did he? Did it say how many games he played? I'm just curious if
he played in 11 games.
So yeah, he burned his red shirt in that first year. So he was all in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just going back, reflecting how vastly different our teams look now today. We kind of talked about, there were 6 pros on that team, but if you look at the last 5 to 6 years on any given team, there's at least 6 to 8 pros on each of those teams. I know we looked at the 2018 or 2019 squad of not too long ago, and I think we counted 15 pros on that team.
That was a crazy loaded team.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was the 18 or 19 squad. So, but what are your guys'? I mean, we can probably pretty much just wrap this up. We just kind of wanted to just do a quick reflection on the 10-year of now and then, but just kind of what are your overall thoughts of where we were and how far we've come in Dave's 10 plus years now?
Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, the biggest thing I think is, I don't know how to phrase it, maybe successful stability. Like, obviously, we haven't reached the top with an ACC championship with Doran yet, but, you know what you're getting at this point, year in and year out. I think he's won 8 games. What is it, like 6 of the last 7 seasons or something
pretty
like
much,
that?
Yeah. Yep.
So, there's a floor there. He's established that. He's, brought some excitement back into football after it was kind of leveled off with TOB.
Yeah, definitely plateaued. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, okay, if we make a bowl game and beat Carolina, get to 6 wins, and hopefully one of them's Carolina, then that's a good season.
Yeah, so let me pause you right there. That was the narrative, right? The goal was to get bowl eligible. Now I feel like the conversation is let's get to 10, let's get to an ACC championship, right?
The bar has been raised, right?
Yeah.
That's the biggest difference. We were like just hoping we could get a bowl game, and now we're like, that's baseline, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a huge difference to me. I think a big part of it is I think he's what's different between then and now. It's like kind of like, well, that's a given. Is I really think it's part of his culture. Like, I think it's a winning attitude, and it's getting the right kind of people to represent NC State that you didn't have as much of in maybe the 10 years prior to Doran being here, I would say. So I thought him and getting that culture is a huge difference. There is consistency there, like you mentioned, where recruits can look back on a track record like NC State has been committed to this guy. He's going to be here for the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. I just think his ability to continue to show what he's done, particularly with low-level talent and producing the NFL has helped him in the recruiting side of things, that really players gravitate towards him in that regard.
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned that, right? Because you mentioned the kind of the quote unquote, low level talent, low stars, which, put whatever you want stock into the stars. But you also have a coach that sees talent, right, and then molds them into professional players. You got the Jacoby Myers of the world and the Garrett Bradburys, who came into state with little to no offers, and then played at different positions, and then converted them into all pro type players. You got Garrett's getting ready to get another contract, make multi-millions dollars. He was a Remington Award winner. You got Jacoby Myers, who now just got a big payday. What's that?
Chubb.
3-star
linebacker, right?
Yeah.
Or defensive, he's linebacker, I think.
Yeah, I think he came as a linebacker.
I think he was recruited as a linebacker.
Yeah. So you just have these guys that just come in and just work, right? And I think the thing is I think the last 6 or 7 out of the last 6 or 7 NFL drafts, I think NC State's number 2 in the ACC for draftees. So it just goes to show that you may not be high radar coming into NC State, but you can come in and get developed, and you have the ability to kind of forge your own path. But making any last thoughts on where we've been and where we're hoping to get to?
I will just say I am so glad we're not where we were 10 years ago. I mean, you get what I'm saying? Like, it's just, you're in so much a better spot. And, I mean, I really think the Wolfpack, the Wolfpack Nation, I think the, Debbie Yao and the whole athletic department, and now Boo Corrigan need to really pat themselves on the back for their patience with all this, their investment and commitment. 'Cause I really think it's paid off. It's not gotten to where it's a title yet, which is, I think, the biggest thing left for Doeren right now.
Absolutely, yeah.
But it really has paid off in a lot of ways, and I think that's really good. I think particularly when you reflect on the culture, the type of players we were bringing in, and just raising the bar, like the expectations for NC State fans is totally different than it was 20 years ago. I mean, 10 years ago, I should say. So I think that's the big thing.
Yeah, the last 2 thoughts I'm going to leave with before we close this is, one, Dave Doeren is the 7th most tenured coach in all of college football with his institution. So think about that. So
really, 7th currently active?
Yeah, the longest at his institution. Yep. So that's
I think for State fans, I think the whole complaint of State fans are unrealistic. I was like, no, we've been patient for 10 years. I'm not saying like we're throwing. I don't think anybody feels. Maybe there's some people out there who feel like we should get rid of Doeren and all that, but I haven't seen it anywhere. I haven't seen it. Where we're like, hey, we get rid of Dave Doeren at this point. So
And then the last point I'm going to make, barring something crazy, Dave Doeren's going to be the all-time winningest coach this year.
Yeah, probably.
How many more does he need?
I think he only needs like 6 or 7.
6 or 7, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it may be 6 to tie, 7 to.
I think that's what it is. Yeah. I haven't looked at it since last season, but I know he had an outside chance to get it last year. But so just those 2 factors alone, and it goes to your point making about the administration being patient and letting things kind of play out. So, but Wolfpack Nation, that's going to do it for this episode. Again, we just kind of want to do a retrospect of, how it started how it began and how it ended. But it's not ended, obviously, but you get the point there. And these are just kind of fun little mental exercises just to have fans just appreciate everything that this coach has done and brought to the university. So with that being said, as always, we appreciate you guys tuning in, and obviously follow us on Twitter, and then, here on YouTube. If you haven't already liked and subscribed, go ahead and knock that out. And then as always, turn that bell on so you get all these notifications when, we do the live watch parties, when we release new content, and then when we go live for our weekly live streams, just so you don't miss out on any of the fun content that we do. And we always, appreciate you giving us reviews on any of the podcasts that you listen to us on. And then just, feel free to leave comments. We're always happy to engage with you guys. So
hey, last wrap it up. Bit here. I looked it up. He has got 72 wins. Earl Edwards has 77.
Okay. So he's 5-6 to
5 wins to tie, 6 to take it.
There you go.
Okay.
So So we might be seeing more history this year. Last year we went for 2 years we went undefeated at home, and then he's only lost one home game in the last 2 years. Like that's incredible. So anyway, we could keep talking on and on, but I'm sure you guys got better things to do than listen to us three knuckleheads talk about it. So we'll see you next time, and as always, go Pack.